This is a clip from the Cannon podcast. To hear the full episode and get access to exclusive benefits, head over to patreon.com/thecannonpod and sign up for just £3 a month.
But there's a player that fans also appreciate massively and I think was pretty good in this game until unfortunate injury. Jurrien Timber was taken off in the start of the second half. Now, of course, he could have been taken off before this first half, so I don't know how that worked there. But obviously, we're not physio, so we can't really comment on what was seen there. But he's out injured now. So what's your quick thoughts on that injury and where do you think that leaves us going into the future?
It's really frustrating because I feel like Timber gave you not just starting depth quality, but huge defensive depth quality. Like he was all of that wrapped up into one. Like he was genuinely making a case for himself to be in the starting 11. And, he was one of our best players in preseason as well. I would argue, out of the signings, to be fair, everyone knows how much I love Rice, but Jurrien Timber performed the best and the most consistently. It seemed like he had taken a duck to water in terms of the tactical roles. He was the one that was used the most in different positions, and I just feel it's a horrible blow to have. He was a top player. It was one of the best price to quality deals that we had in the summer market, generally for good reason. I mean, he added huge quality in the back there. In terms of how we can replace him, that's going to be the age-old question. I think a lot of it has to do with balance for me. And for as much as Jurrien Timber offered us in his defensive solidity, I look at what made that an exciting partnership for me wasn't totally the in-possession traits. He showed glimpses, but I don't think Jurrien Timber really showed his potential carrying and passing through the lines. He was efficient, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he showed any superstar in possession qualities. It was that defensive resoluteness that I think he just offered the team a sense of security, both in receiving in the first phase. People trusted him, but then at the second token, he made up for a lot of excellent dueling capabilities. He was really good in the press, and he was really good about squeezing the back line. He was making sure the back line didn't stay deep. And by the way, that was something that I think I criticized Arsenal for almost 2 years ago, a year and a half, and I think it's something that we have a little bit struggled with in terms of making sure that defensive line is up high on the pitch, and he just understands that, having been at Ajax so well. So we're going to lose that. In terms of who can I see offering, look, we've got Zinchenko coming back. Okay.
He's back.
He's back, I think. He hasn't got a preseason, so I do think I would worry about people introducing him into the lineup right away. I still think he needs a couple weeks personally for me, not just to get back up to fitness, but to get up to snuff in terms of match sharpness. Like, I don't think it's as simple as putting a player in like that. He's been out, by the way, for almost 3 months. It's not just preseason. Like, it's not been a short time, so he's going to have to be worked in. I'm looking at Kiwior, I'll be honest. I loved that interchange. I don't think he did all the right things in possession when he did go into the pivot, but the one thing that I loved was him receiving in the back line and then Gabriel defending left back. And that interchange that we saw in preseason for me would give us the best bet in terms of keeping our defensive solidity, in terms of making sure that we keep the rotations that we've had and allow a little bit Declan Rice to be pushed up just a little bit higher up the pitch. And for me, I think that you keep your athletes there. That's the one thing I don't want to lose with Jurrien Timber is his athletic dual capability. And I think Kiwior has that. And he's got a little bit more aerial ability than Jurrien Timber. So in the same manner, I just don't want Tomiyasu at left back. I really believe that, this for me is not the solution. I don't agree with Mikel there. I think I see for me a center back more than a full back. I always have with Tomiyasu. And I think you still get the aerial and dual 1v1 ability that Tomiyasu gives you, but you got a lefty that is able to open up those angles and is able to open wide and interact with his left back. And you've also got somebody that for me is better in the final third. Kiwior has had tons of sample as a DM with Thiago Motta at Spezia. And not only that, but when you look at him in the final third, he creates really good separation off his first touch. I feel as though he's got the athletic ability, if asked, to bomb on. He can replicate a lot of what the Tierney role can occupy, so he is a very versatile defender, and for me, that's the key. Jurrien Timber was versatile. It wasn't that, he had this one special quality that allowed us, to do a particular pattern of play. He was just so versatile in a role. He allowed us to change things mid-game without changing the player. And I think Kiwior gives you that level of versatility, not the same quality, but at least the versatility that makes us unpredictable. So, and I also don't know if we've got much choice, mate. Like, I don't think Zinchenko is back fit. So you're basically debating between Tomiyasu and Kiwior for me at this current moment.
Yeah, I think Mikel showed against Forest that he's willing to make changes. That, and if you're Gabriel and you started 70 plus games, that will make a change if I think it's need be. And I think Kiwior will be the one. I think he'll turn to Kiwior more often. Yeah. And you're right, Tomiyasu doesn't look as smooth on the left hand side. Certain games, maybe, we saw it against Salah last year. He's good defensively, but we've now got Kiwior, who is a left back that can play on that side and is left footed, as you keep saying. And we saw his technical ability in the MLS All Star Skill Challenge. I mean, this guy has the ability. It's just about understanding the role, and he will only understand that role the more he plays it. And I think that's what Mikel will turn to. I think it's very important that we don't lose our control and transition. And you put Zinchenko back into the team, and he's alright. He's not the worst, but Kiwior is much better. And you want to have that solid back five. If you count the players in front as well, to have the 1v1 monsters. You don't want to have players that are easy to beat, that can be targeted. But in terms of Alexander Zinchenko, when he is fit and available, do you think he walks back into the team?
I mean, I think walk is a generous term, I'll be honest, because I think just the way that we've been playing, there are games for Zinchenko, and there will be games for Jurrien Timber. I said that at the start of the season. I'm going to keep the same energy with the Kiwior. And I think that's going to be the case. So, for example, if I'm facing, somebody that I need a little bit more invention, like a Forest, ironically, if I'm facing them or that type of team again, then yeah, Zinchenko looks to be a much better left back for me. If you're looking to kind of see, would he fit with a Chelsea, with a City, with one of those bigger games that we need to be a little bit more resolute in transition? Then no, I don't think that he's excellent, or especially against a right winger that we know is great, like Sporting last year. We know what Marcus Edwards' threat is. I don't think I'm going to isolate Zinchenko like that again. And I will challenge Mikel personally. I feel as though that this is a perfect chance to justify you using your squad. And I think that's been a big critique. It's been something that he kept saying in preseason. The fact that he kept experimenting so much was because he said, look, I understand that I need to use the squad more. And I love how self-aware he is, but mate, it's time to kind of buck up those ideas here. And, you've got Kiwior, you've got other people, you've got Zinchenko. It doesn't have to be a one-size-fit-all approach. And I think that we need to make sure that we work Zinchenko back in properly. I also worry about his injury history. I don't think it gets talked about enough, beyond the fact that he's been injured for 3 months. Even last year, he was out for long periods. And I think that understanding that we've got that type of player, and Kieran Tierney, who we haven't spoken about, but looks to be fresh links, by the way, to Newcastle from Sky Sports, that is something that we still haven't even talked about yet. And the one reason that I kind of, don't want to is because I feel like he could potentially be out the door. And that's just another left back that I wouldn't like to see leave, but just the reality is there's more links of him leaving than there are of him staying at this moment. So when you move on from that collection of left backs that we got there, I think, as long as Ben White plays, you need to make sure that you find somebody that's comfortable inside, right? And you need to have that balance of your fullback pair. Like Kieran Tierney would work great if you had a Jurrien Timber. He's injured. So does the need for a KT really, makes sense in the entirety of the season when you know that a Jurrien Timber at least is out for a couple months? Whether that's longer than 6 months, we don't know quite yet, but if it is at least a couple months, the idea of seeing that inverted right back becomes smaller and smaller.
Thanks for checking out the Cannon Podcast. To get full episodes and access to exclusive benefits, head over to patreon.com/thecannonpod and sign up for just £3 a month.